Chapter 31. And in the 7th year, Ya'aqub's service which he served Laban was complete. And Ya'aqub said to Laban, "Give me my wife, for the days of my service are fulfilled." And Laban did so. And Laban and Ya'aqub assembled all the people of that place, and they made a feast. And in the Aqab, Laban came to the house, and afterward Ya'aqub came there with the people of the feast. And Laban put out all the lights that were in the house. And Ya'aqub said to Laban, "Why do you do this matter to us?" And Laban answered, "Such is our custom to do in this land." And afterward Laban took his daughter Leah, and he brought her to Ya'aqub. And he came to her, but Ya'aqub did not know that she was Leah. And Laban gave his daughter Leah, his female servant Zilpah, for a female servant. And all the people at the feast knew what Laban had done to Ya'aqub, but they did not tell the matter to Ya'aqub. And all the neighbors came that night to Ya'aqub's house, and they ate and drank and rejoiced and played before Leah on timbrels and with dances, and they responded before Ya'aqub, "Ha Leah, ha Leah." And Ya'aqub heard their words, but did not understand their meaning. But he thought such might be their custom in this land. And the neighbors spoke these words before Ya'aqub during the night. And Laban had put out all the lights that were in the house that night. And in the Bakar, when daylight appeared, Ya'aqub turned to his wife, and he looked, and see, it was Leah that had been lying in his bosom. And Ya'aqub said, "See, now I know what the neighbor said last night. Ha Leah, they said, and I did not know it." And Ya'aqub called to Laban and said to him, "What is this that you did to me? I only served you for Rahel, but why did you deceive me and give me Leah?" And Laban answered Ya'aqub, saying, "It is not done so in our place, to give the younger before the older. Now therefore, if you desire to take her sister likewise, take her unto you for the service which you will serve for me another 7 years." And Ya'aqub did so. And he also took Rahel for a wife, and he served Laban 7 more years. And Ya'aqub also came to Rahel, and he loved Rahel more than Leah. And Laban gave her his female servant Bilhah for a female servant. And when Ya'uah saw that Leah was hated, Ya'uah opened her womb, and she conceived and bore Ya'aqub 4 banim in those days. And these are their names: Rauban, Shimun, Lui, Yehudah. And afterward she ceased bearing. And at that time Rahel was barren, and she had no offspring, and Rahel envied her sister Leah. And when Rahel saw that she had borne no children to Ya'aqub, she took her female servant Bilhah, and she bore Ya'aqub 2 banim, Dan and Naphtali. And when Leah saw that she had ceased bearing, she also took her female servant Zilpah, and she gave her to Ya'aqub for a wife. And Ya'aqub also came to Zilpah, and she also bore Ya'aqub 2 banim, Gad and Yashar. And Leah again conceived and bore Ya'aqub 2 banim and 1 daughter in those days. And these are their names: Yissachar, Zabulun, and their sister Dinah. But Rahel was still barren in those days, and Rahel palal to Ya'uah at that time. And she said, "O Ya'uah, Elohim, remember me and visit me, please. For now my husband will cast me off, for I have borne him no children. Now, O Ya'uah, Elohim, hear my supplication before you, and see my affliction, and give me children like one of the female servants, that I may no longer bear my reproach." And Elohim heard her and opened her womb, and Rahel conceived and bore a ban. And she said, "Ya'uah has taken away my reproach." And she called his name Yusuf, saying, "May Ya'uah add to me another ban." And Ya'aqub was 91 years old when she bore him. At that time Ya'aqub's mother Ribkah sent her nurse Daburah, the daughter of Uts, and 2 of Yitzchak's servants to Ya'aqub. And they came to Ya'aqub to Haran, and they said to him, "Ribkah has sent us to you, that you return to your father's house, to the land of Canaan." And Ya'aqub listened to them in this which his mother had spoken. At that time the other 7 years which Yaqub served Laban for Rahel were completed. And it came to be at the end of 14 years that he had dwelt in Haran, that Yaqub said to Laban, Give me my wives and send me away, that I may go to my land. For see, my mother sent to me from the land of Canaan, that I should return to my father's house. And Laban said to him, No, please, if I have found favor in your sight, do not leave me. Appoint me your wages, and I will give them, and remain with me. And Yaqub said to him, This is what you shall give me for wages, that I shall this day pass through your flock, and take away from them every lamb that is speckled and spotted, and such as are brown among the sheep, and among the goats. If you would do this matter for me, I will return and feed your flock, and keep them as at first. And Laban did so, and Laban removed from his flock all that Yaqub had said, and gave them to him. And Yaqub placed all that he had removed from Laban's flock in the hands of his banim, and Yaqub was feeding the remainder of Laban's flock. And when the servants of Yitzchak, which he had sent to Yaqub, saw that Yaqub would not return with them to the land of Canaan to his father, they then went away from him, and they returned home to the land of Canaan. But Deborah remained with Yaqub in Haran, and she did not return with the servants of Yitzchak to the land of Canaan. And Deborah resided with Yaqub's wives and children in Haran. And Yaqub served Laban 6 years longer. And when the sheep brought forth, Yaqub removed from them such as were speckled and spotted, as he had determined with Laban. And Yaqub did so with Laban for 6 years. And the male increased abundantly, and he had cattle, and the female servants and male servants, and camels and donkeys. And Yaqub had 200 drove of cattle, and his cattle were of large size and good-looking appearance, and were very productive. And all the clans of the banim of males desired to get some of the cattle of Yaqub, for they were exceedingly prosperous. And much of the banim of males came to obtain some of Yaqub's flock, and Yaqub gave them a sheep for a male servant, or a female servant, or for a donkey, or a camel, or whatever Yaqub desired from them they gave him. And Yaqub obtained riches and honor and possessions by means of these matters, with the banim of males, and the children of Laban envied him of this honor. And in the course of time he heard the words of Laban's banim, saying, Yaqub has taken away all that was our father's, and by that which was our father's he has acquainted all this esteem. And Yaqub saw the appearance of Laban and of his children, and see, it was not toward him in those days as it had been before. And Yahweh appeared to Yaqub at the passing of the 6 years, and said to him, Arise, go forth out of this land, and return to the land of your birthplace, and I will be with you. And Yaqub rose up at that time, and he mounted with his children and wives, and all belonging to him, on camels. And he went out to go to the land of Canaan to his father Yitzchak. And Laban did not know that Yaqub had gone from him, for Laban had been sheep shearing that day. And Rahel stole her father's images, and she took them, and she concealed them on the camel upon which she sat, and she went on. And this is the matter of the images: and taking a male who is of the firstborn, and slaying him, and taking the hair off of his head, and taking salt, and salting the head, and anointing it in oil, then taking a small tablet of copper, or a tablet of gold, or writing the name on it, and placing the tablet under his tongue, and taking the head with the tablet under the tongue, and putting it in the house, and lighting lights before it, and bowing down to it. And at that time, when they bow down to it, it speaks to them in all matters that they ask of it, through the power of the name which is written on it. And some make them in the figures of males, of gold, of silver, and go to them in the times known to them, and the figures receive the influence of the stars, and tell them matters to come. And such were the images which Rahel stole from her father. And Rahel stole these images which were in her father's, in order that Laban did not know through them where Yaqub had gone. And Laban came home, and he was asking concerning Yaqub and his household. but he was not to be found. And Laban sought his images to know where Yaakov had gone, and could not find them. And he went to some other images, and he inquired of them, and they told him that Yaakov had fled from him to his father to the land of Canaan. And Laban then rose up, and he took his brothers and all his servants, and he went forth, and pursued Yaakov, and he overtook him in Mount Gilead. And Laban said to Yaakov, What is this you have done to me, to flee and deceive me, and lead my daughters and their children as captives taken by the sword? And you did not allow me to kiss them and send them away with joy, and you stole my mighty ones and went away. And Yaakov answered Laban, saying, Because I was afraid, lest you would take your daughters by force from me. And now, with whoever you find your mighty ones, he shall die. And Laban searched for the images, and he looked in all Yaakov's tents and furniture, but could not find them. And Laban said to Yaakov, We will make a covenant together, and it shall be a witness between you and I. If you afflict my daughters, or shall take other wives besides my daughters, even Elohim shall be a witness between you and I in this matter. And they took stones and made a heap, and Laban said, This heap is a witness between you and I. Therefore he called the name of it Gilead. And Yaakov and Laban offered upon the mountain, and they ate there by the heap, and they stayed on the mountain all night. And Laban rose early in the car, and he wept with his daughters and kissed them, and he returned to his place. And he hastened and sent off his bond Baur, who was 17 years old, with Abihur, bond of Uts, bond of Nahor, and with them were 10 males. And they hastened and went and passed on the way before Yaakov, and they came by another way to the land of Seir. And they came to Esau, and said to him, Thus spoke your brother and your relative, your mother's brother, Laban, bond of Bethuel, saying, Have you heard what Yaakov your brother has done to me, who first came to me naked and bare? And I went to meet him and brought him to my house with honor, and I made him great, and I gave him my 2 daughters for wives, and also my 2 female servants. And Elohim barak him for my sake, and he increased abundantly, and had banim and daughters and female servants. He also has a large stock of flocks and herds, camels and donkeys, also silver and gold in great amount. But when he saw that his wealth increased, he left me while I went to shear my sheep, and he rose up and fled in secrecy. And he lifted his wives and children upon camels, and led away all his cattle and property which he acquired in my land. And he lifted his face to go to his father Yitzchak to the land of Canaan. And he did not allow me to kiss my daughters and their children, and he led my daughters as captives taken by the sword. And he also stole my mighty ones and fled. And now I have left him in the mountain of Wadi Yabuk, and he all belonging to him, he lacks nothing. If it be your desire to go to him, go, then there you will find him, and you can do to him as your being desires. And Laban's messengers came and told Esau all these matters, and Esau heard all the words of Laban's messengers, and his wrath was greatly kindled against Yaakov, and he remembered his hatred, and his wrath burned within him. And Esau hastened, and took his children and his servants, and the beings of his household, being 60 males, and he went and assembled all the children of Seir, the Horite, and their people, being 340 males, and he took this number of 400 males with drawn swords, and he went to Yaakov to smite him. And Esau divided this number into divisions, and he took 60 males of his children and servants and the beings of his household as one head, and gave them into the hand of Alipaz, his oldest bond. And the remaining heads he gave into the hands of the 6 banim of Seir, the Horite, and he placed every male over his generations and children. And the whole camp went as it was, and Esau went among them towards Yaakov, and he brought them over with speed. And Laban's messengers departed from Esau, and went to the land of the Canaan. And they came to the house of Ribkah, the mother of Yaakov and Esau. And they told her, saying, See, your bond Esau is gone against his brother Yaakov with 400 males, for he has heard that he was coming, and has gone to fight against him, and to smite him, and to take all that he has. And Ribkah hastened and sent 72 males from the servants of Yitzhak to meet Yaakub on the way, for she said, maybe Esau will fight on the way when he meets him. And these messengers went on the way to meet Yaakub, and they met him on the way of the Wadi on the opposite side of Wadi Yabuk. And when he saw them, Yaakub said, this camp is appointed to me from my Elohim. And Yaakub called the name of that place Mahanaim. And Yaakub knew all his father's people, and he kissed them and embraced them and came with them. And Yaakub asked them concerning his father and mother, and they said, they are good. And the messengers said to Yaakub, Rivkah, your mother, has sent us to you, saying, I have heard, my bond, that your brother Esau has gone out against you on the way with males from the children of Seir the Horite. Therefore, my bond, listen to my voice, and see with your counsel what you will do. And when he comes up to you, ask peace of him, and do not speak rashly to him, and give him a present from what you possess, and from what Elohim has favored you with. And when he asks you concerning your affairs, conceal nothing from him. Maybe he may turn from his wrath against you, and you will thereby save your being, you and all belonging to you, for it is your duty to honor him, for he is your older brother. And when Yaakub heard the words of his mother which the messengers had spoken to him, Yaakub lifted up his voice and wept bitterly, and did as his mother commanded him. Chapter 32. And at that time Yaakub sent messengers to his Esau, towards the land of Seir, and he spoke to him words of favor. And he commanded them, saying, thus you shall say to my master, to Esau, thus said your servant Yaakub, let not my master think that my father's barakah, with which he has baraked me, has proved beneficial to me. For I have been these 20 years with Laban, and he deceived me and challenged my wages 10 times, as it has already been told to my master. And I served him in his house with hard labor, and Elohim afterward saw my affliction, my labor, and the work of my hands, and he caused me to find favor and kindness in his sight. And I, through Elohim's great favor and kindness, afterward acquired oxen and donkeys and cattle and male and female servants. And now I am coming to my land and my home, to my father and mother who are in the land of Canaan, and I have sent to let my master know all this in order to find favor in the sight of my master, so that he may not think that I have obtained wealth of myself, or that the barakah with which my father baraked me has benefited me. And those messengers went to Esau, and found him on the borders of the land of Edom, coming toward Yaakub. 400 males of the children of Seir the Horite were standing with drawn swords. And the messengers of Yaakub told Esau all the words that Yaakub had spoken to them concerning Esau. And Esau answered them with pride and contempt. And he said to them, indeed I have heard, and truly it has been told to me what Yaakub has done to Laban, who exalted him and his house, and gave him his daughters for wives. And he brought forth Banim and daughters, and abundantly increased in wealth and riches in Laban's house through his means. And when he saw that his wealth was abundant and his riches great, he fled with all belonging to him from Laban's house, and he led Laban's daughters away from the face of their father as captives taken by the sword, without telling him of it. And Yaakub has not only done so to Laban, but he has also done so and has caught me by the heel twice. And shall I be silent? Now therefore I have this day come with my armies to meet him, and I will do to him according to the desire of my heart. And the messengers returned and came to Yaakub, and said to him, we came to your brother Esau, and we told him all your words, and thus has he answered us, and see, he comes to meet you with 400 males. Now then, know and see what you shall do, and Palal before Elohim to deliver you from him. And when he heard the words of which he had spoken to the messengers of Yaakub, Yaakub was greatly afraid, and he was distressed. And Yaakub palal to Yahuwah, his Elohim, and he said, O Yahuwah Elohim of my fathers, Abraham and Yitzchak, You spoke to me when I went away from my father's house, saying, I am Yahuwah Elohim of your father Abraham, and the Elohim of Yitzchak. To you do I give this land and your seed after you, and I will make your seed as the stars of the Shamayim, and you shall spread forth to the four sides of the Shamayim, and you and your seed shall be all the clans of the Eretz be Baruch, and your seed shall all the clans of the Eretz be Baruch. And you established your words, and gave to me riches and children and cattle, as the utmost wishes of my heart. You gave to your servant. You gave to me all that I asked from you, so that I lacked nothing. And you afterward said to me, Return to your genealogy and to your birthplace, and I will still do good with you. And now that I have come, you delivered me from Laban, and I shall fall into the hands of Esau, who will slay me, even together with the mothers of my children. Now, therefore, O Yahuwah Elohim, please deliver me from the hands of my brother Esau, for I am greatly afraid of him. And if there is no righteousness in me, do it for the sake of Abraham and my father Yitzchak. For I know that through kindness and favor I have acquired this wealth. Now therefore I ask you to deliver me today by your kindness, and to answer me. And Yaakub ceased palaling to Yahuwah, and he divided the people that were with him with the flocks and cattle into 2 camps, and he gave the half into the hand of Damasak, Ban of Alazar, Abraham's servant, for their camp, with his children, and his other half he gave into the hand of his brother Ali Nai, Ban of Alazar, to be for a camp with his children. And he commanded them, saying, Keep yourselves at a distance with your camps, and do not come too near each other. And if Esau comes to one camp and smites it, the other camp at a distance from it will escape him. And Yaakub stayed there that night, and during the whole night he gave his servants instructions concerning the camps and his children. And Yahuwah heard the palal of Yaakub on that day. And Yahuwah then delivered Yaakub from the hands of his brother Esau. And Yahuwah sent 3 messengers of the Shamayim, and they went before Esau and came to him. And these messengers appeared to Esau and his people as 2,000 males, riding on horses equipped with all kinds of weapons. And they appeared in the sight of Esau and all his males to be divided into 4 armies, with 4 chiefs over them. And one army went on, and they found Esau coming with 400 males towards his brother Yaakub. And the army ran towards Esau and his people and frightened them. And Esau fell off the horse in alarm, and all his males separated from him in that place, for they were greatly afraid. And the whole of the army shouted after them when they fled from Esau. And all the males of battle answered, saying, Indeed, we are the servants of Yaakub, who is the servant of Elohim. And who then can stand against us? And Esau said to them, O then my master and Yaakub is your master, whom I have not seen for these 20 years, and now that I have come this day to see him, do you treat me in this matter? And the messengers answered him, saying, As Yahuwah lives, were not Yaakub, of whom you spoke, your we would not leave one remaining from you and your people, but only because of Yaakub we will do nothing to them. And the army passed from Esau and his males and went away. And Esau and his males had gone from them about a mile, when the second army came toward him with all kinds of weapons, and they also did to Esau and his males as the first army had done to them. And when they had left it to go on and see, the third army came toward him, and they were all afraid. And Esau fell off the horse, and the whole army cried out and said, Indeed, we are the servants of Yaakub, who is the servant of Elohim, and who can stand against us? And Esau again answered them, saying, O then, Yaakub, my master, and your master is my brother. For 20 years I have not seen his face, and hearing this day that he was coming, I went this day to meet him. And do you treat me in this way? And they answered him and said to him, As Yahuwah lives, were not Yaakub your Ak, as you say, we had not left a remnant of you and your males, but because Yaakub, of whom you spoke, is your Ak, we will not strive with you or your males. And the third army also passed them, and he still continued his way with his males toward Yaakub. When the fourth army came towards him, and they did also to he and his males as the others had done. And when Esau saw the evil which the four messengers had done to he and his males, he became greatly afraid of his Ach, Yaakub, and he went to meet him in peace. And Esau concealed his hatred against Yaakub, because he was afraid for his height, because his Ach, Yaakub, and because he had thought that the four armies that he had encountered were Yaakub's servants. And Yaakub stayed that night with his servants in their camps, and he resolved with his servants to give Esau a present from all that he had with him, and from all his property. And Yaakub rose up in the Bakar, and he and his males, and they chose from among the cattle a present for Esau, and this is the amount of the present which Yaakub chose from his flock to give to his brother Esau. And he selected 240 head from the flocks. He selected the camels, the donkeys, 30 each, and the herds of he chose 50 cattle, and he put them all in 10 droves, and he placed each kind by itself, and he delivered them into the hands of 10 of his servants, each drove by itself. And he commanded them and said to them, Keep yourself at a distance from each other, and put space between the droves. And when Esau and those who are with him shall meet you and ask you, saying, Whose are you, and where do you go, and to whom belongs all these before you? You shall say to them, We are the servants of Yaakub, and we come to meet Esau in peace, and see Yaakub comes behind us. And that which is before us is a present sent by Yaakub to his Ach, Esau. And if they shall say to you, Why does he delay behind you from coming to meet his brother, and to see his face? Then you shall say to them, Indeed he comes joyfully behind us, to meet his brother. For he said, I will appease him with the present that goes to him, and after this I will see his face. Maybe he will accept me. So the whole present passed on in the hands of his servants, and went before him on that day. And he lodged that night with his camps by the border of the Wadi Yabuk. And he rose up in the middle of the night, and took his wives and his female servants, and all belonging to him. And that night he passed them over the ford Yabuk. And when he passed all belonging to him over the Wadi, Yaakub was left by himself. And a male met him, and he wrestled with him that night until the breaking of the day. And the hollow of Yaakub's thigh was out of joint through wrestling with him. And at that break of day the male left Yaakub there, and he barak him and went away. And Yaakub passed the Wadi at the break of day, and he limped on his thigh. And the greater light rose upon him when he had passed the Wadi, and he came up to the place of his cattle and his children, and they went on till midday. And while they were going to the present passed on before them, and Yaakub lifted his eyes and looked, and see, Esau was at a distance coming along with much males, about 400. And Yaakub was greatly afraid of his brother. And Yaakub hastened and divided his children to his wives and his female servants, and his daughters, Dinah. And he put in a chest, Dinah, he put in a chest, and gave her into the hands of his servants. And he passed before his children and wives to meet his brother, and he bowed down to the ground, he even bowed down 7 times until he approached his brother. And Elohim caused Yaakub to find favor and kindness in the sight of Esau and his males. For Elohim had heard the Palal of Yaakub, and the fear of Yaakub and his dread fell upon his brother Esau. For Esau was greatly afraid of Yaakub for what the messengers of Elohim had done to Esau. And Esau's wrath against Yaakub was turned into kindness. And when Esau saw Yaakub running toward him, he also ran toward him, and he embraced him, and he fell upon his neck, and they kissed and wept. And Elohim put fear and kindness toward Yaakov into the hearts of the males that came with Esau, and they also kissed Yaakov and embraced him. And Alipaz, Ban of Esau, with his 4 brothers, Banim of Esau, also wept with Yaakov, and they kissed him and embraced him, for the fear of Yaakov had fallen upon them. And Esau lifted up his eyes and saw the females with their offspring, and the children of Yaakov walking behind Yaakov and bowing along the way to Esau. And Esau said to Yaakov, Who are these with you, my brother? Are they the children of your servants? And Yaakov answered Esau and said, They are my children, which Elohim has graciously given to your servant. And while Yaakov was speaking to Esau and his males, Esau saw the whole camp, and he said to Yaakov, Where do you get the whole of the company that I met last night? And Yaakov said, To find favor in the sight of my master. It is that which Elohim graciously gave to your servant. And the present came before Esau, and Yaakov pressed Esau, saying, Please take the present that I have brought to my master. And Esau said, Why is this my purpose? Keep that which you have for yourself. And Yaakov said, It is necessary for me to give all this, since I have seen your face, that you still live in peace. And Esau refused to take the present. But Yaakov said to him, I ask you, my master, if now I have found favor in your sight, then receive my present at my hand. For I have therefore seen your face as though I had seen the face like a mighty one, because you were pleased with me. And Esau took the present, and Yaakov also gave to Esau silver and gold and bdellium, for he pressed him so much that he took them. And Esau divided the cattle that were in the camp, and he gave half to the males who had come with him, for they had come on hire, and the other half he delivered into the hands of his children. And the silver and gold and bdellium he gave into the hands of Alipaz, his oldest bond. And Esau said to Yaakov, Let us remain with you, and we will go slowly along with you until you come to my place with me, that we may dwell there together. And Yaakov answered his Ak, and said, I would do as my master says to me, but my master knows that the children are weak in the flocks and herds with their young who are with me, but go but slowly. For if they went swiftly, they would all die, for you know their burdens and their fatigue. Therefore let my master pass on before his servant, and I will go on slowly for the sake of the children and the flock, until I come to my master's place at Seir. And Esau said to Yaakov, I will place you with some of the people that are with me to take care of you on the way, and to bear your load and burden. And he said, What do you need, my master, that I may find favor in your sight? See, I will come to you to Seir, to dwell there as you have spoken. Go then with your people, for I will follow you. And Yaakov said this to Esau in order to remove Esau and his males from him, so that afterward Yaakov might go to his father's house, to the land of Canaan. And Esau listened to the voice of Yaakov, and Esau returned with the 400 males that were with him on the way to Seir. And Yaakov and all belonging to him went that day as far as the boundary of the land of Canaan and its borders, and he remained there some time. Chapter 33. And after some time Yaakov went away from the borders of the land, and he came to the land of Shalom, that is the city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, and he rested in the front of the city. And he brought a portion of the field which was there from the children of Hamor, the people of the land, for 5 shekels. And Yaakov built himself a house there, and he pitched his tent there, and he made booths for his cattle. Therefore he called the name of that place Sukkot. And Yaakov remained in Sukkot 1 year and 6 months. At that time some of the females of the inhabitants of the land went to the city of Shechem to dance and rejoice with the daughters of the people of the city. And when they went, Rahel and Leah, the wives of Yaakov, with their clans, also went to see the rejoicings of the daughters of the city. And Dinah, the daughter of Ya'akub, also went along with them, and saw the daughters of the city. And they remained there before these daughters, while all the people of the city were standing by them to see their rejoicings. And all the great people of the city were there. And Shechem, Ban of Hamor, the prince of the land, was also standing there to watch them. And Shechem saw Dinah, the daughter of Ya'akub, sitting with the mother before the daughters of the city. And the maiden pleased him greatly, and he asked his friends there and his people, saying, Whose daughter is that sitting among the females, whom I do not know in the city? And they said to him, Indeed, this is the daughter of Ya'akub, Ban of Yitzchak, the Abri, who has dwelt in this city for a long time. And when it was reported that the daughters of the land were going forth to rejoice, she went with her mother and female servants to sit among them, as you see. And Shechem saw Dinah, the daughter of Ya'akub, and when he looked at her, his being became fixed upon Dinah, and he sent and had her taken by force. And Dinah came to the house of Shechem, and he seized her forcibly, and lay with her, and humbled her. And he loved her exceedingly, and placed her in his house. And they came and told the matter to Ya'akub. And when Ya'akub heard that Shechem had defiled his daughter Dinah, Ya'akub sent 12 of his servants to take Dinah from the house of Shechem. And they went and came to the house of Shechem to take Dinah from there. When they came, Shechem went out to them with his males and drove them from his house. He would not allow them to come before Dinah. But Shechem was sitting kissing Dinah and embracing her before their eyes. And the servants of Ya'akub came back and told him, saying, When we came, he and his males drove us away, and thus did Shechem do unto Dinah before our eyes. And Ya'akub also knew that Shechem had defiled his daughter, but he said nothing. And his Banim were feeding his cattle in the field, and Ya'akub remained silent until their return. And before his Banim came home, Ya'akub sent 2 female servants from his servants' daughters to take care of Dinah in the house of Shechem, and to remain with her. And Shechem sent 3 of his friends to his father Hamor, Ban of Hiddekim, Hidakam, Ban of Parad, saying, Get me this maiden for a wife. And Hamor, Ban of Hidakam, the Hewite, came to the house of Shechem, his Ban, and sat before him. And Hamor said to his Ban Shechem, Is there then no female among the daughters of your people that you will take, an Abri female who is not of your people? And Shechem said to him, You must get her only for me, for she is delightful in my sight. And Hamor did according to the words of his Ban, for he was greatly loved by him. And Hamor went to Ya'akub to speak with him concerning this matter. And when he had gone from the house of his Ban Shechem, before he came to Ya'akub to speak to him, see, the Banim of Ya'akub had come from the field as soon as they had heard the matter that Shechem had done, Shechem, Ban of Hamor, had done. And the males were very much grieved concerning their sister, and they all came home kindled in wrath before the time of gathering in their cattle. And they came and sat before their father, and they spoke to him kindled with wrath, saying, Indeed, death is due to this male and to his household, because Yahuwah Elohim of the whole Eretz commanded Noah and his children that male shall never rob nor commit adultery. Now, see, Shechem has both ravaged and committed whoring with our sister, and not one of all the people of the city spoke a word to him. Indeed, you know and understand the judgment of death is due to Shechem and to his father and to the whole city because of the matters which he has done. And while they were speaking before their father in this matter, see, Hamor, the father of Shechem, came to speak to Ya'akub the words of his bond concerning Dinah. And he sat before Ya'akub and before his Banim, and Hamor spoke to them, saying, The being of my bond Shechem longs for your daughter. I allow for you to give her to him for a wife, and to intermarry with us. Give us your daughters, and we will give you our daughters. And you shall dwell with us in the land, and we will be as one people in the land. For our land is very large, so dwell and trade therein, and get possessions in it, and do therein as you desire, and no one shall prevent you by saying a word to you. And Hamor ceased speaking to Yaakov and his Banim, and see, Shechem his bond had come after him, and he sat before them. And Shechem spoke before Yaakov and his Banim, saying, May I find favor in your sight that you will give me your daughter, and whatever you say to me, that I will do for her. Ask me for a large dowry and gift, and I will give it, and whatever you shall say to me, that I will do. And whoever it is that will rebel against your orders shall die. Only give me the maiden for a wife. And Shimun and Lui answered Hamor and Shechem his bond deceitfully, saying, All you have spoken to us we will do for you. And see, our sister is in your house, but keep away from her until we send to our father Yitzchak concerning this matter. For we can do nothing without his consent. For he knows the ways of our father Abraham, and whatever he says to us, we will tell you. We will conceal nothing from you. And Shimun and Lui spoke to this to Shechem and to his father, in order to find a pretense and to seek counsel what was to be done to Shechem and to his city in this matter. And when Shechem and his father heard the words of Shimun and Lui, seemed good in their eyes, and Shechem and his father went out to go home. And when they had gone, the Banim of Yaakov spoke to their father, saying, Look, we know that death is due to these wicked ones and to their city, because they transgress that which Elohim had commanded to Noah and to his children and to his seed after them. And also because Shechem did this matter to our sister Dinah, in defiling her. For such wickedness shall never be done among us. For now therefore know and see what you will do, and seek counsel, and do what matter is to be done to them, in order to kill all the inhabitants of this city. And Shimun said to them, Here is right advice for you. Tell them to circumcise every male among them as we are circumcised, and if they do not want to do this, we shall take our daughter from them and go away. And if they consent to do this and will do it, then when they are weakened with pain, we will attack them with our swords, as upon one who is quiet and peaceable, and we will slay every male from among them. And Shimun's advice pleased them, and Shimun and Lui resolved to do to them as it was proposed. And on the next Bakar, Shechem and Hamor and his father came again to Yaakov and his Banim, to speak concerning Dinah, and to hear what answer the Banim of Yaakov would give to their words. And the words of Yaakov spoke deceitfully to them, saying, and the Banim of Yaakov spoke deceitfully to them, saying, We told our father Yitzchak your words, and your words pleased him. But he spoke to us, saying, Thus did Abraham his father command him from Elohim, Adon of the whole Eretz, that any male who is not of this descendants that should want to take one of his daughters shall cause every male belonging to him to be circumcised, as we are circumcised, and then we may give him our daughter for a wife. Now we have made known to you all our ways that our father spoke to us, for we cannot do this of which you spoke to us, to give our daughter to an uncircumcised male, for it is a disgrace to us. But hereby we will consent to you to give you our daughter, and we will also take unto ourselves your daughters, and will dwell among you, and be one people as you have spoken, if you will listen to us, and consent to be like us, to circumcise every male belonging to you, as we are circumcised. And if you will not listen to us, to have every male circumcised, as we are circumcised, as we have commanded, then we will come to you and take our daughters from you and go away. And Shechem and his father Hamor heard the words of the Banim of Yaakov, and they pleased him exceedingly. And Shechem and his father Hamor hastened to do the request of the Banim of Yaakov, for Shechem loved exceedingly Dinah, and his being was fixed on her. And Shechem and his father Hamor hurried to the gate of the city and they assembled all the males of their city, and spoke to them the words of the Banim of Yaakov, saying, We came to these males, the Banim of Ya'akub, and we spoke to them concerning their daughter. And these males will consent to do according to our wishes, and see our land is of great size for them, and they will dwell in it, and trade in it, and we shall be as one people. We will take their daughters, and our daughters will be given to them for wives. But only on this condition will these males consent to do this matter, that every male among us is to be circumcised as they are circumcised, as their Elohim commanded them. And when we have done according to their instructions to be circumcised, then they will dwell among us, together with their cattle and possessions, and we shall be as one people with them. And when all the males of the city heard the words of Shechem and his father Hamor, then all the males of their city were agreeable to this proposal, and they obeyed to be circumcised, for Shechem and his father Hamor were greatly esteemed by them, being the princes of the land. And on the next day Shechem and Hamor his father rose early in the Bakar, and they assembled all the males of their city into the middle of the city, and they called for the Banim of Ya'akub, who circumcised every male belonging to them on that day and the next. And they circumcised Shechem and Hamor his father, and the 5 Akim of Shechem. And then every one rose up and went home, for this matter was from Yahuwah against the city of Shechem. And Shimun's counsel was from Yahuwah in this matter, in order that Yahuwah might deliver the city of Shechem into the hands of Yaakub's 2 Banim. Chapter 34. And the number of the males that were circumcised were 645 males, 246 children. But Hidakam Bana Parad, the father of Hamor, and his 6 brothers would not listen to Shechem and his father Hamor, and they would not be circumcised, for the proposal of the Banim of Yaakub was loathsome in their sight, and their wrath was greatly roused at this, and the people of the city had not listened to them. In the Akab of the 2nd day they found 8 small children who had not been circumcised, for their mothers had concealed them, and Shechem and his father Hamor, and from the males of the city, and Shechem and his father Hamor sent to have them brought before them to be circumcised. Then Hidakam and his 6 brothers sprang at them with their swords, and they sought to slay them. And they sought to slay also Shechem and his father Hamor, and they thought to slay Dinah with them because of this matter. And they said to them, What is this matter you have done? Are there no female among the daughters of your Akim, the Canaanites, that you want to take for yourselves now daughters of the Abrim, whom you did not know? Therefore, will you do this deed which your fathers never commanded you? Do you think that you will succeed through this deed which you have done? And what will you answer in this matter to your brothers, the Canaanites, who will come tomorrow and ask you concerning this matter? And if your deed shall not appear right and good in the eyes, what will you do for your high, and I for our high? And your not having listened to our voices. And if the inhabitants of the land and all your Akim, the children of Ham, shall hear of your deeds, saying, Because of an Abri female, Shechem and Hamor his father, and all the inhabitants of their city, did that which they did not know, and which their ancestors never commanded them. Where then will you flee, or where conceal your shame all your days before your Akim, the inhabitants of the land of Canaan? Now therefore we cannot bear up against this matter which you have done, neither can we be burdened with this yoke upon us, which our ancestors did not command us. See, tomorrow we will go and assemble all our brothers, the Canaanite brothers who dwell in the land, and we will all come up and smite you, and all those who trust in you, that there shall not be a remnant left from you or them. And when Hamor and his bond, Shechem, and all the people of the city heard the words of Hidakam and his Akim, they were terribly afraid for their high at their words, and they repented of what they had done. And Shechem and his father Hamor answered their father Hidakam and his Akim, and they said to them, All the words which you spoke to us are true. Now, do not say nor think in your hearts because the love of the Abrim we did this matter, that our ancestors did not command us, but because we saw that it was not their intention and desire to do according to our wishes concerning their daughter, as to take our taking her, except on this condition. So we listened to their voices and did this deed which you saw in order to obtain our desire from them. And when we shall have obtained our request from them, we will then return to them and do to them that which you say to us. We ask you then to wait and stay until our flesh shall be healed and we again become strong, and then we'll go together against them and do to them that which is in your hearts and in ours. And Dinah, the daughter of Ya'akub, heard all these words which Hidakam and his brothers had spoken, and what Hamor and his bond Shakam and the people of their city had answered them. And she heard and sent one of her female servants that her father had sent to take care of her in the house of Shakam to Ya'akub her father and to her brothers, saying, Thus did Hidakam and his Akim devise concerning you, and thus did Hamor and Shakam and the people of the city answer them. And when Ya'akub heard these words, he was filled with wrath, and he was wroth at them, and his wrath was kindled against them. And Shimun and Louis swore and said, As Yahuwah lives, the Alaim of the Holerettes, by this time tomorrow there shall not be a remnant left in the whole city. And 20 young males had concealed themselves who were not circumcised, and these young males fought against Shimun and Louis. And Shimun and Louis killed 18 of them, and 2 fled from them and escaped to some tar pits that were in the city. And Shimun and Louis sought for them, but could not find them. And Shimun and Louis continued to go about in the city, and they killed all the people of the city with the edge of the sword, and they left none remaining. And there was a great fear in the midst of the city, and the cry of the people of the city ascended to the Shemaim, and all the females and children cried aloud. And Shimun and Louis slew all the city, and they left not a male remaining in the whole city. And they slew Hamor and Shakam his bond with the edge of the sword. And they brought away Dinah from the house of Shakam, and they went from there. And the Banim of Yaakov went and returned and came upon the slain, and plundered all their property which was in the city and the field. And while they were taking the spoil, 300 males stood up and threw dust at them, and struck them with stones. And Shimun turned to them, and he slew them all with the edge of the sword. And Shimun turned before Louis and came back into the city. And they took away their sheep and their oxen and their cattle, and also the remainder of the females and little ones. And they led all these away. And they opened a gate and went out, and came to their father Yaakub with might. And when Yaakub saw all that they had done to the city, and saw the spoil of that which they took from them, Yaakub was very wroth at them. And Yaakub said to them, What is this you have done to me? See, I obtained rest among the Canaanites, inhabitants of the land, and none of them broke out against me. And now you have acted to make me a stench to the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites and the Perizzites, and I am but a small in number. And they will all assemble against me and slay me when they hear of your work with your Akim, or with their Akim. And I and my household will be destroyed. And Shimun and Louis and all their Akim with them answered their father Yaakub and said to them, See, we live in the land, and shall Shakam do this to our sister? Why are you silent at all Shakam has done? And shall he deal with our sister as a whore in the streets? And the number of the females whom Shimun and Louis took captive from the city of Shakam, whom they did not slay, was 85, who had not known a male. And among them was a young maiden of good-looking appearance and favored, whose name was Bunah. And Shimun took for her a wife. And the number of males which they took captive they did not slay was 47 males, but the rest they slew. And all the young males and females that Shimun and Louis had taken captive from the city of Shechem were servants to the Banim of Yaakub, and to their children after them, until the day of the Banim of Yaakub going out from the land of Mitzrayim. And when Shimon and Levi had gone out from the city, the two young males that were left, who had concealed themselves in the city, and did not die among the people of the city, rose up. And these young males went into the city and walked about in it, and found the city laid waste without male, and only females weeping. And these young males cried out and said, See, this is the evil which the Banim of Yaakub the Abri did to the city, and having this day destroyed one of the Canaanite cities, and were not afraid for their height of all the land of Canaan. And these males left the city and went to the city of Taphnach, and they came there and told the inhabitants of Taphnach all that had befallen them, and all the Banim of Yaakub had done to the city of Shechem. And the news reached Yashub, sovereign of Taphnach, and he sent males to the city of Shechem to see those young males, for the sovereign did not believe them, and this account, saying, How could two males lay waste such a large city as Shechem? And the messengers of Yashub came back and told him, saying, We came to the city, and it is destroyed. There is not a male there, only weeping females, neither is any flock or cattle there, for all that was in the city the Banim of Yaakub took away. And Yashub wondered at this, saying, How could two males do this matter to destroy such a large city, and not one male be able to stand against them? For the like has not even been from the days of Nimrod, and not even from the earliest time has the like come to pass. And Yashub, sovereign of Taphnach, said to his people, Be courageous, and we will go and fight against these Abrim, and do to them as they did to the city, and we will avenge the cause of the people of the city. And Yashub, sovereign of Taphnach, consulted with this matter, with his counselors about this matter, and his counselors said to him, Alone you will not prevail over the Abrim, for they must be powerful to do this work to a whole city. If two of them laid waste a whole city, and no one stood against them, indeed if you go against them, they will all rise against us and destroy us also. But if you would send to all the sovereigns that surround us and let them come together, then we will go with them and fight against the Banim of Yaakub. Then you will prevail against them. And Yashub heard the words of his counselors, and their words pleased him and his people, and he did so. And Yashub, sovereign of Taphnach, sent to all the sovereigns of the Amorites that surrounded Shechem and Taphnach, saying, Go up with me and assist me, and we will smite Yaakub the Abri, and all his Banim, and destroy them from the Eretz. For thus did he do to the city of Shechem, and do you not know of it? And all the sovereigns of the Amorites heard of the evil that the Banim of Yaakub had done in the city of Shechem, and they were greatly astonished at them. And the 7 sovereigns of the Amorites assembled with all their armies, about 10,000 males with drawn swords. And they came to fight against the Banim of Yaakub, and Yaakub heard that the sovereigns of the Amorites had assembled to fight against his Banim. And Yaakub was greatly afraid, and it distressed him. And Yaakub cried out against Shimon and Levi, saying, What is this deed that you have done? Why have you injured me, to bring against me all the children of Canaan, to destroy me and my household? For I was at rest, even I and my household, and you have done this matter to me, and provoked the inhabitants of the land against me by your doings. And Yehuda answered his father, saying, Was it for naught my Achim, Shimon and Levi, killed all the inhabitants of Shechem? Indeed, it was because Shechem had humbled our sister and transgressed the command of our Elohim to Noah and his children. For Shechem took our sister away by force and committed adultery with her. And Shechem did all this evil, and not one of the inhabitants of his city stopped him to say, Why would you do this? Only for this my Achim went and smote the city, and yet delivered it into their hands, because its inhabitants had transgressed the commands of our Elohim. Is it then for naught that we have done this all? And now, why are you afraid or distressed? And why are you displeased at my Achim? And why is your wrath kindled against them? Indeed, our Elohim, who delivered the city of Shechem and its people into their hand, He will also deliver into our hands all the Canaanites, sovereigns, who are coming against us, and we will do to them as my Akim did to Shechem. Now be at peace about them, and cast away your fears, but trust in Yahuwah, our Elohim, and plow to him to assist us, and deliver our enemies into our hands. And Yehuda called to one of his father's servants, Go now and see where these sovereigns who are coming against us are positioned with their armies. And the servant went and looked far off, and went opposite up Mount Sihon, and saw all the armies of the sovereigns standing in the fields. And he returned to Yehuda and said, See, the sovereigns are positioned in the field with all their armies, a people exceedingly numerous, like sand on the seashore. And Yehuda said to Shimon and Lui, and to all his Akim, Strengthen yourselves, and be banim of might, for Yahuwah our Elohim is with us. Do not fear them. Stand each male girded with his weapon of battle, his bow and his sword, and we will go and fight against these uncircumcised males. Yahuwah is our Elohim, he will save us. And they rose up, each girded on his weapons of battle, and great and small, 11 banim of Yaakub, and all the servants of Yaakub with them, and all the servants of Yitzchak who were with Yitzchak and Hebron, all came to them equipped with all kinds of weapons, and the banim of Yaakub and their servants, being 112 males, went towards these sovereigns, and Yaakub also went with them. And the banim of Yaakub sent to their father Yitzchak, ban of Abraham, to Hebron, the same is Beit Arba, saying, We ask you to plow for us to Yahuwah, our Elohim, to protect us from the hands of the Canaanites, who are coming against us, to deliver them into our hands. And Yitzchak, ban of Abraham, plowed to Yahuwah for his banim. And he said, O Yahuwah Elohim, you promised my father, saying, I will multiply your seed as the stars of the Shamayim. And you also promised me and established your word. Now the sovereigns of Canaan are coming together to fight against my children, because they committed no violence. Now therefore, O Yahuwah Elohim, Elohim of the Holorets, overthrow, I plow, the counsel of these sovereigns, that they may not go fight against my banim, and impress the hearts of these sovereigns and their people with the fear of my banim, and bring down their pride, so that they would turn away from my banim. With your strong hand and outstretched arm, deliver my banim and their servants from them. For power and might are in your hands to do all this. And the banim of Yaakub and their servants went towards these sovereigns, and they trusted in Yahuwah their Elohim. And while they were going, Yaakub their father also plowed to Yahuwah, and said, O Yahuwah Elohim, powerful and exalted Al, who has reigned from days of old, from then till now forever. You are he who stirs up wars and causes them to cease. In your hand are power and might to exalt and to bring down. Oh, may my plow be acceptable before you, that you may turn to me with your compassions, to impress the hearts of these sovereigns and their people with the fear of my banim, and frighten them and their armies, and with your great kindness deliver all those that trust in you. For it is you who can bring people under us and reduce nations under our power. Chapter 35. And all the sovereigns of the Amorites came and took their stand in the field, to consult with their counselors what is to be done with the banim of Yaakub, for they were still afraid of them, saying, See, 2 of them slew the whole city of Shechem. And Yahuwah heard the plow of Yitzchak and Yaakub, and he filled the hearts of all these sovereigns' advisers with great fear and dread, that they all together exclaimed, Are you simple this day, or is there no understanding in you, that you will fight against the Abrim? And why will you take a delight in your own destruction this day? Look, 2 of them came to the city of Shechem without fear or dread, and they killed all the inhabitants of the city. No male stood up against them. And how will you be able to fight against them all? Only you know that their Elohim exceedingly loves them and has done mighty deeds for them, such as has not been done from the days of old. And among all the mighty ones of the nations, there is none that can do like this his mighty deeds. Indeed, he delivered their father Abraham the Abri from the hand of Nimrod and from the hand of all his people, who had much times sought to slay him. And he delivered him also from the fire in which sovereign Nimrod had thrown him, and his Elohim delivered him from it. And who else can do like this? Indeed, it was Abraham who slew the 5 sovereigns of Elam, when they had touched his brother's bond, who in those days dwelt in Sodom, and took his servant that was trustworthy in his house, and a few of his males, and they pursued to the sovereigns of Elam in one night, and killed them, and restored to his brother Achim's bond all his property which they had taken from him. And indeed, you know the Elohim of these Abrim is much delighted with them, and they are also delighted with him, for they know that he delivered them from all their enemies. And see, through his love towards his Elohim, Abraham took his only and precious bond, and intended to offer him as a burnt offering to his Elohim. And had it not been for Elohim who prevented him from doing this, he would have done it through his love for his Elohim. And Elohim saw all his works that he swore to him, and promised him all that he would deliver his bond, Nim, and all his seed from every trouble that would befall them, because he had done this matter, and through his love for Elohim, restrained his compassion for his child. And have you not heard what their Elohim did to Pharaoh, sovereign of Mitzrayim, and to Abimelech, sovereign of Gerar, through taking Abraham's wife, who said of her, "She is my sister," lest they should slay him because of her, and think of taking her for a wife? And Elohim did to them and their people all that you had heard of. And look, we ourselves saw with our eyes that Esau, the Ach of Yaakov, came to him with 400 males with the intention of slaying him, for he called to mind that he had taken away from him his father's barakah. And he went to meet him where he came from Aram, and to smite the mother with the children. And who delivered him from his hands but his Elohim in whom he trusted? He delivered him out of the hand of his brother, and also from the hand of his enemies, and indeed he will again protect them. Who does not know that it was their Elohim who inspired them with strength to do to the city of Shechem the evil which you heard of? Could it then be with their own strength that 2 males could destroy such a large city as Shechem, had it not been for their Elohim in whom they trusted? And he said and did to them all this to slay the inhabitants of the city in their city. And can you then prevail over them, who have come out together from your city to fight against the whole of them? Even if 1,000 times as much more should come to your assistance, only you know and understand that you do not come to fight against them, but you come to fight against their Elohim, who made choice of them, and you have therefore all come today to be destroyed. Now therefore refrain from this evil which you are in devouring, to bring upon yourselves, and it will be better for you not to go to battle with them, although they are but few in numbers, because their Elohim is with them. And when the sovereigns of the Amorites heard all the words of their advisers, their hearts were filled with fear, and they were afraid of the Banim of Yaakov would not fight against them. And they were inclined their ears to their words of their advisers, and they listened to all their words. And the words of their counselors greatly pleased the sovereigns, and they did so. And the sovereigns turned and refrained from the Banim of Yaakov, for they dared not to approach them to fight them. For they were greatly afraid of them, and their hearts melted within them from their fear of them. For this came from Yahweh to them, for he had heard the palal of his servants Yitzchak and Yaakov, for they trusted in him. And all these sovereigns returned with their camps on that day, each to his own city, and they did not fight against the Banim of Yaakov at that time. And the Banim of Yaakov kept their guard that day till Akab, opposite Mount Sihon. And seeing that these sovereigns did not come to fight against them, the Banim of Ya'aqub returned home.